Hello everyone. At the end of this video, as usual so far, I will do an update on my personal bankroll challenge or just general progress in my poker career for this year. This hand that I'm watching right now, I skipped through it very quickly just to see how long it is. I don't know what happens exactly in the hand. So we will be watching it with like a fresh perspective. I don't already know what's going on, which is kind of interesting. It might take a little bit longer this way, but I think it's an interesting way to do it. Now, as usual, when I click on a hand to watch, there's a lot of information I don't have access to. The history between the players, how they feel about each other, who's winning in this session, who's losing, what does the money mean to them in that moment and in general and so on. So the more information you know, the more you factor in, and hopefully you are right about these information, because sometimes you have misinformation, so you are factoring in things that are incorrect. And sometimes when your result turns out to be good, you think that you were right, but you were just kind of like lucky that it looked like you were right. Okay, so let's watch it.
We're anywhere between $100,000 and $250,000. And the action is on
I
Andrew
forget how
Feldman
much
from
the
UK.
blinds are. I'm guessing it's 3 and 600 maybe, or
so far.
4-8.
Now though, under the gun.
And he raises under the gun with 10-9 suited. There's nothing awfully wrong with this play or anything. Usually this hand, from my experience, plays better when you either call someone in position or re-raise them in position and they call you, or when you re-raise them out of position and they call you, because they are kind of like just committed. So right now, if they flop an ace and you have a really good draw and you do hit it, a lot of the times you get paid because they don't know where they stand. So in this case, the best outcome for him is to, you know, get called or get re-raised a little bit and then he calls. So I think in the long run, I'm not sure if this play would be a profitable play. I actually don't know. So it seems like this guy called Jack 9. I think I saw the button here somewhere. So he's, let's say, on the cutoff.
And there is
Called
our
with Jack 9,
Hungarian
and, you know, he said the guy's a billionaire or whatever.
He's picked up
Obviously, he's, you know, if he's on the cutoff, like I see, it doesn't say here. It makes the play just a little bit better. But generally speaking, Jack 9 is just in a world of pain against all kind of hands. Kagawa calls. I think he's on the button. Maybe they will mention it at some point. Just a standard call with a pair. Nothing wrong with that at all. A very good play. He could even re-raise, but I'm guessing the table dynamics are in such a way that a call here would be better. So it seems like the button is in front of Gus. So maybe these two called from the hijack and the cutoff, and Gus folded his hand.
Sindor feels lucky. What about?
He just calls. I thought he already called when I made the comment.
Well, Nasser's picked up pocket eights here. Could potentially raise.
So Tom Duan here
call,
calls. I guess he just wants to play. Obviously, it's
Gus
not a
gets
good,
out of the way.
good play.
Round to Dur.
He's gonna
Tom
have to
Duan,
flop like
who,
not.
as you can see by the
straight
amount
or
of chips in
something.
front of him, he's having a
Is always gonna be in a weird shape versus so many players. Trips is always gonna have a bad kicker. So he's just gambling. He just bored, I guess. You shouldn't call in the spot.
A very, very good day.
So Kagawa flops middle set. The original Razor, Andrew Feldman, flopped 10 high flush draw.
It is an ace 8-4 flop, massive flop for Masa Kagawa flopping middle set.
And Jan with Jack 9 flopped nothing, and Kagawa, like we said, I think I mentioned that he flopped set of eights, which is great, especially on an ace board. And Tom Dwan has a gut shot, so the two will give him a straight. I don't know why this commentator would say nothing there for Feldman. He has a flush. He has
inside straight draw.
Decent flush draw, and he's the original Razor, so he's gonna be betting a lot of the time in this spot. If that's his definition of nothing, I don't know what a draw would look like. Now, as far as this guy is concerned, he has the nuts. He's not gonna be worried about like trip aces or anything like that. He would prefer this board to be more dry, because some of the time he will have to raise here, because when a flush comes, when a player doesn't have the flush, it's gonna scare them, so he's gonna kind of lose value a lot of the time. And a lot of the time, in this case, someone is gonna have an ace, so that he wants to raise for value. And yeah. Now, when you call here, you know, much like about 4 out of 5 times the flush is not gonna come. So you are hoping that your opponent will make something like 2 pair or something like that. Or let's say if the 4 comes, he will have a full house and the 4 will not scare his opponent, and so on. Now Tom Dwan checked. The original Razor bet about half pot or so, and the guy with the set just called. I'm not sure what Tom Dwan is going to do here. He could call some of the time. He could even raise. He's crazy, so. When I say he's crazy, it doesn't mean he's not a good player. He's a great player, but he does make crazy plays like that, where he's now raising big, maybe with his gut shot, and if he hits it, he's always going to get paid. So let's see what he does. I actually don't know if he did that or not. So he just calls. And Tom Dwan hit the nuts straight. So now, oh my bad, I misread the board. Feldman indeed doesn't have anything. I thought the screen said he had a flush. I misread the board. Maybe that's because I play with 4-color deck. And so indeed, Feldman has absolutely nothing. One player now has second nuts or third nuts, and one player has the nuts. Oh, you see, yeah, it does. The board does say there are 2 hearts. But when they show us the table, it shows that the ace is the ace of diamonds. So this screen is wrong. So I guess the commentator is looking at the table. He's close enough to see the table, and he's not commentating based on the screen. So Tom Dwan checks his flush draw, his nuts. Sounds more like Mike Postel move.
And Feldman checks as well, so it's over to Masa now.
And Feldman basically he gave up on the hand here. There's no way he can continue betting in that spot. 2 people called him. The checker, the guy in the small blind checked he bet, other guy called, and the small blind called. There's no way he's gonna continue here, unless he's gonna rep like a huge hand and go for like, you know, an 18,000 pot and then give up on the river kind of play. But right now he already shouldn't have. Sorry, yeah, he does have again. So he already should have given up on the hand basically. Again, this is the ace of diamonds. Right now, he just should shut down, and he did.
Who at the flop was such a favourite, and now could be betting into, well, a storm, really.
Yeah, he's going to need the board to pair. We know he's not going to get Tom Dwan off this hand. Tom at the moment has the nuts.
Now, I don't know how this guy plays Kagawa. I don't know how much Tom knows about him. I'm guessing they played with each other for a while. I don't know his style. But Tom most likely knows that this guy has a hand. At least 2 pair, if not a set. In Tom's head, half the time this guy has a set, I'm guessing. And half the time he has 2 pair. And there's a... Oh, again, there's no flush draw on the board. It keeps confusing me. So Tom Dwan now knows he's in a really good shape, and he probably is going to raise to charge him a little bit and try to get Feldman off his hand, whatever that may be. Maybe like 6-7 or something like that. Watch out, Gus Hansen is watching Dwan. I think he's studying to see if he can pick up some tells on him for future hands. But don't be fooled, you know, the pot is already relatively big. When they say someone is a billionaire, maybe he's not a billionaire. It just sounds better on TV. Who knows? You're not gonna like investigate every comment they make. But like sometimes people who watch poker a lot get the impression that, you know, these people exchange hundreds of thousands of dollars and it doesn't bother them. It does. The second the pots start getting bigger, everyone is paying attention. And sometimes people who don't shut up for a second get quiet because they realize there is a lot on the line. I feel like this is one of those situations.
He's reaching for the bigger priced chips, the more expensive ones.
Yeah, remember this is value for value, the same as cash.
Now Kagawa is believing he has the best hand. He has no reason not to believe he has the best hand, and he couldn't believe the raise. And in his mind, Tom Dwan is bluffing.
Makes a very big
now, if his mind, Tom Dwan is bluffing,
gets out of the way and
without like serious outs, he should just call and get Dwan to bet again on the river because Dwan is first stack. So if Dwan is bluffing here, the better play, in my opinion, would be to call. Now, the only reason he might raise, some players would raise in this situation, they think if Dwan has just the 3, let's say, or just the 5, they don't want to give them a chance. Or just like the 6-7, basically gut shots all over the place. They want to charge them a little bit. And that also would be the wrong play, but it's just kind of like a protective instinct players have a lot of the time. The correct play, in my opinion now strongly, is to call. Because there's no reason for... What is Tom going to be betting with unless he has either a bluff or the nuts? So either 3-5 or basically nothing. He's very unlikely to raise 2 pair here. Although like maybe 15-20% of the time he will make this play with 2 pair. It's just like if he makes this play with an ace and a deuce or 8-4 and gets 3 raise, he's going to be in a bad spot when he gets shoved on. So in Kagawa's mind, I believe that he believes that Tom is just bluffing, and now he's gonna call and, quote, get him to hang himself on the river. But honestly, I don't know how much they have behind. I don't know how deep they are. Like if he only has a little bit behind, he's just gonna put it in. So I don't know if
Over
they
to
mentioned
Massa.
the sizes of the stacks. I don't know how much
It's a tough spot,
these
really.
chips represent, but I'm guessing they are very deep. So. Will the river pair the board? I don't know.
Yeah. The shipping magnate, I'm sure, knows his way around a boardroom. He's also a successful poker player.
Yeah, I think that's the wrong play. You should be
rankings.
calling there again, especially if they are deep. So
Playing against Tom Dwan is a whole different kettle of sushi.
Well, he's re-raising here. He's decided, I think I've got the best hand.
now will Tom Dwan re-raise again? The size of the stacks matter a lot. Tom Dwan knows that this guy's not bluffing. He's probably trying to calculate what are his chances to hit the river, like to make a full house, and try to determine if he should call or re-raise or just put him all in. Tom Dwan most likely knows that this guy is not bluffing. In other words, he knows this guy has a set.
And it looks as though it's paid off at this point. Massa still has outs to the river.
So Tom Dwan's going to be putting him either on a set or ace-king here. A big, big ace anyway.
Well, he's made an incredible call at the flop, and it has paid off. Right now, he's just trying to figure out how to get the most chips out of Massa. Massa still has a lot of outs. But right now, Durr is in
So
the
it
best
seems like they are
position
deep,
possible.
based on this comment.
And he makes a call, so choosing not to re-raise Massa right there. Massa
Now will
still
Tom
has
check
a
here?
lot of
I don't
money
know.
left
I don't
in
know
front
how
of him.
deep they are. Will he go all in? Something representing two pair again? This is not a flush on
Massa
the
looking
board
for a
because the
repeat.
ace is actually the ace of diamonds.
And the river is a king of
I don't know
hearts, so
what Tom
Tom
should do
Dwan
here.
has the nuts.
I mean, what if the other guy checks behind? What if the other guy no longer likes his set and he will figure he will take the big pot and not risk getting shoved on, just in case Tom Dwan is checking ace 3, or maybe like 3 kings now for whatever weird reason. So I think Tom should probably bet like something like 3/4 of the pot, especially if they are deep. In other words, when his bet is not gonna basically put him all in. But he checks. So if Tom checks, he probably knows that this guy is not gonna check his setback. So now by Tom checking, this guy almost all of the time is gonna think that Tom has
Tom
two
Dwan
pair,
was putting him on ace.
or like
Wow, that
yeah, basically two pair. He doesn't think Tom is gonna check, let's say, 3 aces or 3 kings. So now he's hoping that Tom maybe like turned a set of deuces. This is one of the things he's most likely thinking about. And now he wants to get paid, so.
is very courageous and gutsy poker from Tom Dwan, checking there,
So there was
risking a possible check
190 in the
from
pot,
Massa behind him and not getting paid
and
off
he
on the
bet
river.
70,000.
And look
It's
at
kind
that,
of like
it's
a
paid
small
off.
bet.
Massa picks up $100,000 in one chip and bets 70 of it.
Because in a normal play, if Tom doesn't have something that beats a set, this bet says,
Get some change back
I want to
from
get paid and I want to
flat
get
hooked on
paid the
in.
most, a
He's
lot of
more or
the
less
time. Now, of
committing
course, some
himself.
people might do that when they're bluffing too, but again, there will be information that Tom Dwan had access to that I don't. I'm saying that this is when, let's say, he doesn't have the nuts. So in this case, he can get away from his hand. Now, when he sees his bet, he knows for the most part, like most of the time, that this guy also is not bluffing and he wants to get paid. He's gonna raise anyway because he has the nuts, but he's thinking, how much can I raise to not let this guy get away from his set. At this moment, Tom is like nearly 100% sure that the guy has a set. As you can see, this is the ace of diamonds here. There's no flush on board.
No, client moves all in.
And there it is, Tom Dwan pulling the trigger, Massa quickly calling, and look at the disgust in his face as he sees such a big turn card for Tom Dwan and such a terrible card for him.
Amazing. There is $400,000 and more in the middle of this base, and Tom Dwan has just won it with a 3-5
Alright,
offsuit.
that would be all for
Well, he took
this
a big
hand.
risk and it certainly paid
Check
off.
my update
upon
right
itself.
after this, and
With
until
each
next
hand, he
week,
gets more and
take
more
care,
confidence.
bye-bye.
A call from Phil with pocket nines, and a
So, how did we do this week? Week number 6, week 6. I played mostly tournaments, and I did play some double or nothing sit and goes, where I made probably like $40. I didn't play a lot of them. I also made about $60 from a high hand, playing cash games. As far as tournaments go, I played 59 tournaments. I made the money 14% of the time. My total profit for the week is $250 on the main site, Site A. But if you factor in that I qualified for a tournament that's worth $320, then I made $570. However you wanna look at it. On my other site, the Bitcoin based, I played 28 tournaments. I made the money 13 times, and I made, based on how much Bitcoin is worth today, I made $62. So that would be all until next week. Take care. Bye bye.